Hey, my name is Jason Lee, and I'm a high-class video producer, and today I'm going to give you a video presentation of what it means to stand out of the crowd. A little bit about me. First things first, I like to make money, and if you work for me, you better give me some of the green greens, or else I'm going to kick your butt to the curb. But yet somehow I feel like in my movie industry, I'm working with a bunch of monkeys, so I have to whip them into shape now and then just to make a good movie here and there and get some moolah. Plus, if you haven't known this about me, I have a lot of cousins out in this world, and 3 of them, I love them so much. They're all from Asia. Also, another person I'll be talking later on this presentation is Michael Rooney, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this little squirt. So apparently back in elementary, his very first nickname he got was Macaroni and Cheese, just because of his first and last name, which is Michael Rooney, Macaroni. Get it? You better. Also, what he also tells me, and the reason why that we're doing his presentation is that he stands out of the crowd, but he also got picked on for doing that way back in elementary school. And he told me that he feels like he's a brown egg from a batch of white eggs, that the white eggs really don't treat him nicely just because he's different from everyone else. So they always pick on him, call him names, etc., etc. You know how those mean kids do, pick on a little squirt like Michael. And also he says he associates himself with Waldo, that little fruity dude. I don't know why, but he feels that he's Waldo in a picture where everyone else is the same and Waldo just sticks out of the crowd, yet it's still hard to find him, if you ask me. So just to give you guys a basic overview, our theme today is going to be learning how you can stand out of the crowd and the reason behind it. And one prime example that I'll be talking to you guys is using a poem called That Is Not a Fairy Tale by Jane Yolen. Throughout the history of storytelling, princesses are usually described as being beautiful through their image. However, if you really look at it, princesses are always usually considered to be thin or slender. It's very rare or hardly even possible that princesses are related to being big or round or even thick. Do you think princesses in fairy tales are meant to be skinny and thin while still looking pretty at the same time? Wrong! They can also be fat and chubby looking while still having the beauty inside them, but yet the people don't usually write that about them, until this one author decided that fat princesses are considered the true beauty of a fairy tale. I am thinking of a fairy tale. Cinderelephant, Sleeping Tubby, Snow White, where the princess is not anorexic, wasp-weighted, and flinging herself down the stairs. I am thinking of a fairy tale. Hansel and Gretel, Rapunzel, Bounty and the Beast, where the beauty has a pillowed breast and fingers plump as sausage. I am thinking of a fairy tale that is not yet written, for a teller not yet born, for a listener not yet conceived, for a world not yet won, where everything round is good: the sun, wheels, cookies, and the princess.
Why does a zebra wear stripes? Those stylish black and white stripes aren't just a fashion statement. They're designed to blend a crowd of zebras into a single confusing blur. Not a bad strategy if you're outrunning hungry lions, but to succeed in a busy marketplace, you've got to stand out of the crowd. Creative BoobTube helps you get noticed with truly unforgettable commercials. We handle everything from concept creation, to filming and editing, to getting it on air. Call 1-855-BoobTube and drive home your message with a truly unforgettable commercial and stand out in the crowd.
Hi, my name is Michael Rooney, and I'll be doing the last half of the presentation. Now, as Jason Lee might have told you, My theme today is just how to stand out from the crowd and the reasons behind it. And I chose the poem Fat Is Not a Fairy Tale by James Yolen. I believe it's a good example to state my reasons. Now, after reading the poem for the very first time, I kind of got some good interpretations of what I believe the poem is really trying to say. Now, from the first line from the poem where it says, "I am thinking of a fairy tale," I kind of believe that it's saying the fact that each person usually thinks of a story that's most commonly told to their children when it comes to a fairy tale. However, I believe that the reason why Yolen put this line in is because she decided to make a fairy tale that's totally different from all the others. Hence her title, Fat Is Not a Fairy Tale. Now, Jane wanted to think of a fairy tale that's very different from the other stories because the folk tales that children usually hear from their parents, the princesses are usually beautiful, however they're usually like thin or, they're slim. But Jane, she wanted to make a fairy tale where the princess is not anorexic, wasp-weighted, flinging herself down the stairs, where the beauty has a pillowed breast and fingers plump as sausage. Now, at the last stanza of the poem, Jane was talking about making a fairy tale that is very new to the world. As how she puts it, she's thinking of a fairy tale for a teller not yet born, for a listener not yet conceived, and for a world not yet won. When I read that, I kind of believe that the author is confident to present her ideas out to the public, and she's aiming to target a person who's never been conceived of the idea of a fairy tale for a fat princess, or to a world not won over the idea yet. Thus, from what I believe that Jane is trying to do, she's trying to create a fairy tale that beauty is not really defined by the princess's shape or what she looks like. Because in most folk tales, or what people want to create, they want to create a princess who looks beautiful just because of how she looks, which is usually considered to be thin or slim. But from Jane, she believes that even though the princess might be big, round, thick, or just fat, she believes that the beauty resides inside the princess and not what she looks like from the outside. And that's why I believe of what Jane is trying to portray through this poem. Now, this poem relates to my life in many ways because throughout my childhood, I've always been the odd one out of the crowd. Everything that I did, said, or practically any idea I had during childhood, elementary, middle school, even till today, a lot of my ideas and my actions, not many people could either think of or never thought of before. So that kind of puts me in a spot that I stand out of everyone else because I do things differently from everyone. Now, if you've done something that no one has ever thought of before, it will be so much easier for someone to recall your name because from your actions or from your ideas that you do that is different from all the other people from society, that your name will be out there and everyone will know it because you have done something that no one has ever done before. For instance, when it comes to making stories for me, I don't just put my thoughts on paper. I put my thoughts through music. If you give me a piece of paper, I'll tell you the chapters. But if you give me a song to listen to, I'll go in depth of what each scene is happening or what's happening throughout the story. Because that's pretty much what I do. And there's not that many people out in the world who actually create their story ideas through music. So to basically sum it all up from my theme of standing out from the crowd, there's many ways to get your name out and stand out from everyone else in the world. For instance, I chose to do a video presentation because I wanted to do something unique for this project rather than creating a picture, collage, etc. By making a video presentation, I divided it between my visual presentation and my actual analysis. This also gave me the opportunity to split between two different people and have two different tones, which is personalities on the poem, how I told it, how I reacted to each stanza, etc. Thus, hopefully it makes my video presentation stand out from the other presentations that you might usually see on a project. I chose this theme because it's a lifelong personality that I've always had since I was young, and now I want to try to share it with you all on the effects and purposes on sticking out like a green thumb or being like Waldo and presenting yourself differently from others. You should do what you want to do, because by doing your own things and pursuing your own ideas, it'll be different from others might do and present opportunities in the future which can be beneficial to society. I'll remember Jane Yolen's poem much longer than other poems because it was a poem that I would rarely read about on a topic that's considered to be unusual. Doing something different isn't considered to be a bad thing because that's what innovators and inventors do for their passion, which is to come up with new ideas and new inventions that people have never thought of before, but also can be beneficial to their people. This poem is significant to my life, and hopefully it's something that you guys can dwell on in the future. And this is my presentation. I'm Michael Rooney, and I am signing off.